All right, a very good morning to you. It's good to see you on this Monday morning. I hope that you do not have hashtag Monday blues, and of course looking forward to what the week has to offer. Welcome to the show. My name is Winnie Lubembe, and of course today it's all about, we all know, right? Father's Day was yesterday, but we still want to extend the celebration so that, again, they do not feel left out, because the majority of the times we see, when we have any celebration as far as mothers is concerned, we usually extend the same up until Monday, all right? So we do not want to leave our fathers behind. So I'm just going to say happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there, father figures, fathers to be as well. Happy Father's Day. Hope that you felt loved and celebrated yesterday, even as we continue the celebration today. But of course, we also want to focus on a very special group of fathers, and that is all the warriors, because today, being the 19th day of June, of course, it is World Sickle Cell Day. And of course, we all know that the International Awareness Day is observed annually with a goal, and that is to increase public knowledge and understanding of sickle cell disease and the challenges experienced by patients and their families, as well as their caregivers. And of course, one of my guests today is a sickle cell ambassador and a champion at the same time, all right? So of course, we'll be joining him a little bit later on, but just to give you some bit of context, all right, as far as understanding the sickle cell disease, well, this is, what it's all about, all right? So the sickle cell disease, like we said, the day is usually celebrated on every 19th day of June. So we all know, going back to class, all right? So sickle cell, the red blood cells contain hemoglobin, a protein that carries oxygen. We all know this, all right, from biology class. And the healthy red blood cells are round, and they move through small blood vessels to carry oxygen to all parts of the body. So you might ask, so what exactly is sickle cell disease? Well, it is a group of inherited red blood cell disorders. And in someone who has sickle cell disease, the hemoglobin is abnormal, causing the red blood cells to become hard and sticky and look like C-shaped farm tool called a sickle. And of course, if you grew up in shags, then you know what exactly a sickle looks like, all right? And of course, the sickle cells die early, which causes a constant shortage of red blood cells. So someone might ask again, so what usually happens, right? So when they travel through the small blood vessels, they get stuck and clog the blood flow, causing pain and other serious complications such as infections, acute chest syndrome, as well as stroke in severe cases, all right? And then the symptoms and complications of sickle cell disease are different for each person and can range from mild to severe. And of course, there's usually also a case of crisis, which again, we'll talk about crisis and understand what exactly it is. So what exactly causes sickle cell disease? You may ask. A lot of people usually ask this. So this is, like we said, a genetic condition that is present at birth, and it is inherited when a child receives two genes, one from each parent, that code for abnormal hemoglobin. And the sickle cell disease is diagnosed with a very simple blood test. So that is roughly what sickle cell disease is all about. And of course, like we said, we also want to celebrate all the sickle cell warriors out there. And of course, this is a very, very special day for them. But at the same time, it's also up to us to pass as much awareness as possible as far as sickle cell disease is concerned. So, like I said, today we're celebrating fathers, and of course, a very special group of fathers, all the warrior dads out there who are watching us this morning. So we have a very simple question for you, all right? And the question is, what exactly does fatherhood mean to you? So this is all the dads to be, all the dads who are, father figures to, other people, all right? So the question is very simple. What exactly does fatherhood mean to you? You know the drill by now. At MTV Kenya, both on Facebook and on Twitter is how you can reach us. And of course, let us know what exactly does, fatherhood mean to you. And most of you who are not dads yet and probably look forward to be dads at some point, then what exactly does that mean to you? So Simon Castale says, fatherhood is being responsible to your family. Okay. Someone else says, this is Mariana Schneider, says, fatherhood is being fully responsible and present to your family. Okay. And then someone else says, this is Tess Maura, who says, being responsible enough and ensuring your family is happy and does not lack. All right. And then Cleophas says, a person who cares for his family always works hard to see them doing well, health-wise and education. Okay. And then someone else says, this is Ramsey Chris, who says, fatherhood means everything, development, security, and identity at the same time. All right. And then one person says, this is Stephen Roa, who says, being able to enjoy Rumba music as I watch my kids grow. I like that. Okay. And of course, we all know most of our dads actually like Rumba. I don't know what is it about Rumba. Okay. Philip Shisia says, a man taking up leadership role in his family, knowing the way, going the way, and finally showing the way. I really like this. All right. Knowing the way, going the way, and finally showing the way. I really, really like that. All right. So keep sending your feedback, and that is on our social media pages at NTV Kenya, both on Facebook and on Twitter. But at the same time, if you want to call us live, maybe celebrate a dad or just tell us what fatherhood means to you. Again, our lines are open, and of course, we look forward to hear what you guys have to say. But let me introduce my guest for the day. And of course, on my immediate left, I have Abel. Is it Abel or Abel? You know, most of us growing up to go from Abel.
Depends on where you come from.
Where you come from,
yes.
Okay. I come from West Pokot, so what do I say?
Abel.
Abel.
But if you're speaking English, it's actually Abel. Because because Abel is English. And
right?
you're speaking English.
I mean, listen.
If you switch to Swahili, you say Abel.
Abel.
I'm Abili.
Abili. Abel Abunga, celebrated actor and a father. It's so good to have you this morning. Karibu sana. How are you doing?
Thanks so much for having me, Winnie. I'm good.
Karibu sana. And of course, again, your story is just, and we'll get to your story very, very shortly.
Okay.
And of course, you've been in the industry for a very long time.
Yes.
And you're doing so much. You're coaching, you're doing voiceover, voiceovers. It's just a lot that you're doing,
yes,
right? And I'm not going to ask you the question I was meant to ask you. So,
okay.
But Karibu sana. And then we also have Joe Mudukiza, who is a sickle cell champion and ambassador, as well as a father of 2, plus many others that you're also taking care of. Yes. It's so good to have you, Joe. First of all, how are you doing? You just came from the hospital.
Yes, I just had to run away from hospital so that I can be here.
Oh my goodness.
My doctor could not allow me, but then I told him that I really want to go because I really want to talk.
But it's a very, very special day, really, for all the sickle cell warriors out there. So thank you. Thank you so much.
My sister there almost beat me for running away from hospital, but I had to come.
Right? Like, you need to get better before you even think about going anywhere.
Sure.
Oh my gosh. I hope you will be okay throughout the interview.
Will be.
Yeah, but thank you so much, Joe, for sparing your time. And of course, I'm just going to begin with you because, again, like we said, this is a very important day, to all the sickle cell warriors, but at the same time, all of us really, because we need to have the knowledge and awareness as far as sickle cell disease is concerned. So for you, you were born with sickle cell, right? And of course, you did not know until you were what, like age 13? Yeah. So can we go back very quickly to like growing up in school? Because like you said, in one of the interviews that I watched, that you actually faced a lot of like stigma from students, and the teachers, like especially in high school.
Stigmatization for me came a lot when I was in high school because in primary school I was day schooling, but in high school then I had to go to boarding. So when you're in boarding, you need to take care of yourself, and sickle cell does sometimes misbehaves. So you get pain crises when you're in class, you're at games, maybe you're running, and then obviously people will start talking about you. Some said that I am possessed, others said that I'm in a cult and all that. So I used to have a lot of challenges when I was in high school. And some teachers also, they knew I had the condition, but then they thought I was using it as a crutch not to do things, not to be in school because I was in and out of school.
All right. And it's just sad that, even just looking at you, one might judge you and be like, yeah, but you're okay. I don't see anything wrong with you. But maybe at that time you are in pain, you are in crisis. So could you just tell us what is it like? And especially when we're talking about crisis, what is like a good day like for Joe,
yeah.
and what is like a bad day
like
for Joe?
For me, in the past 2 months,
yeah.
I've not really had a good day because I've been in pain for the past 2 months. I've been in and out of hospital, and a sickle cell pain is really excruciating. It's like someone is ripping off your skin and inserting broken glass into your veins. And you know, it comes, sometimes it comes slowly and then gradually. And for me, the past 2 months, it has been really gradual, traumatizing. And I noticed that during the period that I've been in and out of hospital, a lot of people started shunning me and shying away from me because now you're sick. How are you going to help them? Now friends will start distancing themselves from you. So for me, sickle cell has been really, it has really broken me to the core for the past 2 months. I've seen things that I have never thought I could have seen in my life. I've had things to an extent that most of the time I just break down because I even ask God, why me? Why can't you just take this away from me? Or if you can't take this away from me, why can't I just die? Because it's too much. It's been too much for me for the past 2 months.
I'm sorry, Joe. I'm really, really sorry for that. And I'm just trying to imagine being in constant pain almost every single day, you know, of your life.
Yeah, sure.
And one might ask, so when you say you're in pain, and it's excruciating, right?
Yes, sure.
Is there like a specific, maybe like area, part of your body that you feel the pain, or is it like everywhere, mostly in the joints?
Specific. Sometimes it might start from one foot, maybe go to the back, and then it becomes too much, the entire body. Sometimes when you're sleeping and you are maintaining one position, changing that position means that will be really, really painful for you. So if you are sleeping in one position and you have mild pain, it's good for you not to change that position. And you know, sometimes now you will start getting hurt, maybe in the ribs
on one side,
and all that.
No, I see that. I see that. And again, like you said, the fact that you are a dad, of course, this has affected, you know, you in a way, because again, I mean, and even we've seen from the comments where a lot of people saying being a father means being present, being able to provide, you know, security for you, being there for your children. But again, like you're saying, like now you've been in hospital for like 2 months. Of course, that rips away time spent, you know, with your kids.
Sure. So I have one biological kid, and then there are others who are referred to me who are disadvantaged in a way. So
and you take care of them.
I take care of them. If you've gone through my social media, you see that actually those kids are my support system. But sometimes you are unable to tell them what you're going through. But there is one who is 15 years old. He knows everything that goes on. There was a time, you know, when you have sickle cell, whether you have money or not, there is a time when that money will not be there at all. So there was a time I was evicted and I had to go and live with my friend, and then one of my kids was asking me why. You know, you now have to look for an excuse, say like maybe it's because of work and all that. And not everybody will like to accommodate you with a bunch of kids, you know. So when it comes to kids, and with sickle cell, it's really hard to take care of them. But one thing I have learned as a dad is when it comes to taking care of those kids, you have promised them, you have taken them in from somewhere. You have given them a sense of hope and belonging. now you have to do it. So, you know, some of them are in school. When school open, I have to go to school and create, maybe come up with a plan with the school and tell them I'll be paying 10 shillings or 20 and all that. Because when I became really, really sick the past 1 month, I became literally broke.
No, I see that. I see that. And Abel, I don't know if that's the same case for you, because and especially when, you know, we're talking about fatherhood, and of course, Abel, I want to hear this from you. Because what I'm getting, and especially from a lot of people who are watching us and their feedback, and even from you, Joe, is fatherhood means strength, fatherhood means being present, and fatherhood means being able to provide. But for you, again, of course, it has not been easy, you know. First of all, raising your child, Ruth, we all know, amazing, amazing woman. She's doing amazing things. But of course, your story, and especially when, so you started raising her alone, but again, you say God is with you as well. So it's you and God doing all the raising. But you took her in when she was 7. But of course, before that, there's a lot, you know, story behind that. And when you saw her, again, she was being bitten, she was being, you know, she went through like violence, both emotional, physical, as well. She was being used as a house girl. It was not good, right? When you went to pick her, what was the first thought? Like when you saw her, what was the first thought that came to your mind, seeing your child the way she was at that particular time?
First of all, maybe to the listener who doesn't have the prior story to that, my daughter Ruth was born out of wedlock, and so she was in her mother's company for the first 6 years. 6 years, before I took her in, and I took her in because her mother was taken ill and she was admitted, and later she succumbed. So she succumbed after I had taken her in. But initially, when I took her in, I had the thought of just retaining her for a while the mother was still in hospital. And then, because I believe a child, especially a girl child, is mostly safer with the mother. And if we were co-parenting, but it is safer to be with the mother if there's an agreement. So when I took her in, the first time I saw her, it had been a while since I had seen her, because she was in the custody of another man who was her mother's husband that time. So the first time I saw her, I was really shocked, and I felt that I've not done so much. I've not done what I was supposed to do as a biological father to make sure that I'm stewarding her, because her condition was deplorable. She was feeble. She was, I mean, you just look at her and think this girl is sick. Actually, she had Kwashiorkor. Yes. She had not gone to school. She hadn't gone to school. For the first 6 years. Actually, she went to class 1 when she was 7 years old. She hadn't gone to school. She had never worn a shoe. She had one constant dress that was as dry as a tent. She was, I mean, her hair, I don't know when the last time it was cut, it was just, she was just malnourished. And of course, as a father, like you said, you felt you did not do enough. Yes, so and she spoke one language. I keep saying this every time. She only spoke Luya. She didn't speak any other language. She didn't know what Swahili is. She didn't know what English is. At 6 years. That was really bad. Yes. And I listened to your story, and you said this sort of like, it, not even sort of, this pricked your heart. Yes, it did. It's like, you were never there for her. Did you find yourself maybe like blaming yourself for not being able to sort of like protect her, because this is a child, this is your girl, and you got her, I mean, when you were pretty young, right? I was. So did you find yourself like blaming yourself for not being there to protect her, to guide her, to provide, you know, for her? Actually, for provision, yes, I did, because I was in college here, but once in a while I would engage in casual labors to make sure that I fend for her, and I would, you know, secretly channel money to her mother to make sure that she takes care of her. But I think that wasn't working. So yes, I did blame myself at some point when I saw her for the first time. And I also blamed the parents, the parents then. And I really felt if it was I was confused. I asked myself, should I have taken her earlier on? Or is it late now? What's going to happen? So yes, I blamed myself to some extent. Yeah.
And of course, we'll get to understand more in terms of, fine, you decided to take care of her, you know, and just make sure that she is okay. But of course, I'm just curious to understand, what was that like for you? Number one, you're very young. Of course, you're still trying to find your balance and your place, yeah. Right, in the society, but at the same time making sure that you're able to provide for her and all those. Were you sort of like scared to do all these things?
Yeah, I was, because I'd never had a child in my house, so deciding to take her in was like I had to take courage.
Change, yes.
And yes, I was a bit skeptical because I didn't know whether I was going to manage. I didn't know whether it was going to be worse. I didn't know whether we were going to click. I didn't know how we were going to communicate. I mean, I had all these mixed feelings. Yeah. But you know, when I saw her and I made my mind I was going to take her, you know, the adrenaline came up, and I said, whatever happens, at whatever cost, I'm going to make sure that I do whatever I have to do to make sure that she turns out into a great person. Yeah.
All right. And of course, we'll also need to understand, so what was that like, and especially this whole journey until she is the kind of woman that she is today, right? You coached her, you know, in music. You did so much for your girl at that time. Yes. Now she's a lady, and again, doing a lot of things. So looking back to that journey, what is maybe that one thing or two things that you would say as a father was very significant for you at that time, in terms of making sure that, you know, everything is okay as far as what she needs? What was that one significant thing that maybe you learned how she was raised before you took her in, and sort of like made a promise to yourself that I'm gonna raise my child maybe in this particular way, you know, until she's able to take care of herself?
I will answer that in one word.
Okay.
Sacrifice.
Sacrifice.
Yes, because a lot of fathers, a lot of parents think that if you are able to provide, then that's enough. Like, if your child has everything she needs, that's enough. No, it's not enough. Yeah. It takes more than that. It takes more than buying her clothes and toys. It takes more than making sure that she has 3 meals a day. It takes more than making sure that she goes to school. The sacrifice is you being part of her life, like being part of all those, being part of the toys, being part of the food, being part of the outings, and being part of school, being part of her education, being part of everything that she does. It really takes a sacrifice, because as a dad, you know, you have all these responsibilities to go out there. Big role. You have to go and offend to make sure that she has whatever she has. And at the same time, you also have to fit into her shoe and be like her, and come down to her level and just be like her. Yeah. So it takes sacrifice.
And I mean, and it's a huge responsibility. And of course, like you're saying, it goes beyond just being able to provide. I mean, you send money every single month. It goes beyond just sending the money. Okay, how about we take a break? But of course, when we come back, I mean, speaking of sacrifice, Joe, again, your sacrifice. I mean, you are in hospital, if I can say majority of the times, but at the same time you have this little person who's looking up to you, and you have several others who are looking up to you. And again, like you're saying, sometimes you just have to sort of hide the fact that you are not okay, just to make sure that they don't worry too much, they don't stress out too much, but at the same time making sure that you are okay, first of all, because dealing with constant pain, but also that takes a toll on your emotional you know, side as well, and physical, and it's just a lot of things that you have to deal with. So of course, when we come back, we'd also want to understand that aspect of sacrifice from you, and able looking back, and now looking at the kind of fathers that we have today in this century. What is it that you know, you would say that is sort of like quote unquote lacking, that we could do better in terms of fatherhood? Because again, there's a lot of like deadbeat dads out here. There's a lot of like single mothers, you know, as well. So where is the disconnect? What have we done wrong? Sort of, you're right. Because there's also a lot of families that are breaking at the same time. So what is it that is lacking that we need to maybe go back to? But again, all that is coming up after the break. Remember that our question is very simple, and that is, what exactly does fatherhood mean to you? So for all the dads, upcoming dads, dads to be, and dads who are taking care of other children, what exactly does fatherhood mean to you? I'll be reading more of your comments after the break. But like we said, if you want to call in live and maybe celebrate a dad, but also share your thoughts as far as fatherhood is concerned, of course, we'll be taking all that after the break. Stay with us.
Furahia maisha bora, linda jamii yako, linda biashara yako. Chukua bima leo. Tuna bima ya maisha, afya na ajali, mali hata elimu. Chukua bima leo. Linda jamii yako, linda biashara yako. Chukua bima leo. Tuna bima ya maisha, afya na ajali, mali hata elimu. Chukua bima leo.
Blueband peanut butter, made with 100% pure peanuts and a good source of omega-6. Grow healthy and happy kids with Blueband peanut butter. Available in 200 grams, 400 grams, and 800 grams. Buy a pack today.
Women across the world really go through a lot of problems during their menses. It's a big problem, especially for poverty-stricken Kenyans. A girl in the slum or a girl from a poor background will miss at least 4 days of school during her menses because she cannot afford the pads. Others use unethical or crude means to take care of their menses. So you find a girl using dirty clothes or pieces of mattresses, which of course come along with infection. So we need even our education system. The sexual education or the sex education that you talk about, one of the topics should be menstruation, and to both boys and girls. The way we talk about when COVID came and it was a big issue, Ebola is happening in other countries, the big issue here. Period poverty needs to be taken as such. I, Dorcas Muga Odumbe, will be attending the Changing Cycles event at Safari Park Hotel on July 15th. The event is sponsored by Nation Media Group. I hope you will join us. Kindly purchase your tickets at kenyabuzz.com. Let's join efforts in ending period poverty in Kenya.
Pata taarifa teke na e-paper. Stay in the know on the go. Getting the full story bila ngori. To sign up, choose your preferred subscription. Use the promo code SUBZ22 to get 20% off and pay. Get your favorite newspaper and enjoy the truth anywhere, anytime. For inquiries, email epaper@ke.nationmedia.com or call 0790 111 111. Subscribe today and get your taarifa teke.
I see. You decided to go to a clinic in Israel so no one gets in your way, am I right? You're getting pregnant there, are you? I wonder who the father would be.
That's none of your business.
Actually, it is.
That's a crime, you know. It's a crime. Don't you even see how serious this is?
Risha, throw her out of the
Mom,
boat!
please, at least you could be. I'm begging you, Anna, leave us. Go away.
Your tears don't affect me anymore. You'd better get out.
No way, Dennis.
I don't want to talk to you anymore. It's over.
Blueband peanut butter, made with 100% pure peanuts and a good source of omega-6. Grow healthy and happy kids with Blueband peanut butter. Available in 200 grams, 400 grams, and 800 grams. Buy a pack today.
All right, welcome back. The show is Your World, and for today it's all about celebrating fathers because we are extending the day, okay? We cannot just say or celebrate our dads in just one special day. This is something that should be happening every single day, and of course we are extending the celebration. So happy Father's Day, belated, if I can say, to all the fathers out there, and I hope again you feel loved, appreciated at the same time. So we're asking you a very simple question right here on the show, and that is, what exactly does fatherhood mean to you? And of course the guest that I have today, if you ask me, I would say they symbolize strength, and of course, like you said, sacrifice as well. Being present doesn't matter what exactly is going through, because like two different stories, but yet the same in terms of being strong, you know, being able to be there for your children as well. And of course, before we get back to them, we also asked a few dads out there, what exactly is it that, you know, they wish they were told before they became dads. Let's get a listen of what they had to say.
Wish someone had told you before becoming a dad. I got expected. We expected before I got ready for any kind of, you know, fatherhood, and I really wish someone had told me before. Now that I have learned through the ropes, that sometimes what you can give is enough. What you can give. Yes, because sometimes it beats you down as a father when you think that you should provide everything. Yes. That's why there's one day we were having a conversation about why is it that fathers run away from their children? And one of the answers someone gave was, it's because the thought of the burden that is coming is overwhelming. And yet if someone just told you, just including just being there will be enough. Things will be fine. I wish just someone told me earlier that things will be okay. That would have been enough for me to keep pushing, because they turned out okay anyway.
For me, it's very different because it's not one thing, because I was never brought up with a father. I'm from a single parent. My mother had 4 children. So I do not have any example of what a father should be and how a father should behave. And I do not know, I didn't know from the word go that if you are a father, these are your responsibilities. So I have had to learn on the go. So for me, it's not one thing, it's everything. So nasoma kila kitu. You read a lot of books. Yeah. You have mentor couples who tell you now, you know, as a father, these are your this is what you're supposed. Of course, you know the basic responsibilities, but majority of the things that you are supposed to do as a dad, you learn on the go. From books, you watch a lot of movies again, sometimes learning materials, you know, having conversation with older people helps a lot.
I wish somebody would have told me that a time will come and I'll have to parent a girl child with special needs. I don't have a sister. I don't have a sister. So you can imagine where I'm coming from. Then you find yourself in a place where you have to learn how to... Can I proceed? Of course, you guys, your fathers to daughters.
Wow.
Yes, I'm about to do it.
Wow.
Yeah, you have to start keeping the records. Because they're developing, they're growing, and like any other child, and you have to involve yourself. So I wish somebody told me that, because I had a very tough experience with my daughter when periods started coming. We were 2 in the house. Ilikuwa ni Sunday kama leo.
Oh God, give us grace.
It was Sunday likely. So of course I called her from her room and said, can you go and take a bath? We get ready, go to church. And she called me from her room and said, there's a nail on my bed that has pricked me. So nikashindwa, nail. Nail kwa bed. We've had this bed for the longest. So I went in. Of course, I saw stains. I saw blood. And
did you know immediately?
No. So now I realize I've got friends. So I called a friend.
And then you had this is after how long?
No, that's about 20 minutes. 20 minutes hapo. No, of course, we can't leave the car. So I call a friend. And then she tells me, her name is Maureen. She tells me, okay, that's why you guys are not in charge. I say, yeah. Okay. And ladies, women are good. Women are magicians. You know, it's like she picked the whole load out of my neck. Just like that. She told me, okay, fanya hivi, just drive to the market. Ingie kwa shop.
Yeah.
Kingia kwa shop iko na mama. Just give the mama your phone. You get that's it.
That's all. To be honest, after about it, I'm like, I don't know. And because I think even if I was told,
you wouldn't be ready.
You would not be ready.
You can never be ready.
There are things
you
I was
can never
told.
be ready.
But I think what I'd say is the preparation of being intentional, being deliberate about being a present father, in my case again, a present husband, is not a joke. Briefly, I'd say like, when we had our first child, and because a lot of my experiences are especially at the very beginning, our daughter couldn't keep food down kabisa, so there's like a valve here that was not fully functional, so regurgitation was serious. So she even had to go to HDU at a point when she was a month old, and so at a point she had to be held. When she's sleeping, and she has to sleep upright. So when she's been we're putting her to sleep, we had to make sure that she's upright. You try and hold her, then now at a point that you put her down, ni kama najua. So kuna watu wanakuambia, oh yes, someone told you, listen to people but sieve what you take.
What you take.
Because people are like, usizoeshe mtoto mkono, usimzoeshe mkono. Me, I'm like, my friend, I'm the one who's going to lose my mind in this house. So unashika huo mtoto.
All right, different things. Things will be okay. That is what some of them hope they were told. You learn on the go because, again, didn't have role models. You're never ready, but you have to be intentional at the same time. I wonder what it is for you. And Abel, you saw this coming, especially when that guy was talking about periods and you're never ready, you don't know what to do and all those things. I'm just curious, what was your experience
First
at that
of all,
particular moment?
I really sympathize with that guy. I can't remember his name.
Yeah.
But in my case, it was a bit different because we had to wait. The two of us waited for it because we had already talked about it.
Okay.
Like I told you, I gave myself, and I gave myself a promise that I was gonna be as open as a book to her.
Okay.
And I would take this position of a mother, and I tried my best because every time we would talk about, every time she developed into puberty, we talked about it.
You had conversations.
We had conversations.
Was
we
it
watched.
difficult to have those conversations? Listen, I am a lady, and even just having those conversations with my mom, it was weird.
I know, but no, in my case, it wasn't.
It wasn't because you started early.
I started early, so we became really, really close.
Yeah.
To date.
Yeah.
She had a condition. I don't know. I cannot remember the condition. It's a medical condition where menses are delayed. Like she had already attained the age of getting the menses, but they were not coming. So we kept waiting. I even bought all those things this guy rushed to the. I had already bought them. They were in the house somewhere. So I was just waiting for this day. Hey, Daddy, there's an emergency. Because Daddy, here it is.
Something.
Yes. But it wasn't coming. It was way past the age. So we had to seek medical advice, and she actually had to undergo a minor surgery because every end month she had pains, excruciating pain in her stomach, and the stomach was swollen all the time, and we were wondering what this is. So we used all types of medication, name them, Buscopan and stuff, every type. So later on we discovered it was something that was more serious because that's a story for another day. But she had a surgery, and then blood just just came out. And even the surgeon told me all his dust coat was bloody because
it like blocked and
it had been retained in there for months, several months. So that's how it started. She made it through.
I mean, and you're best friends. I mean, I look at your social media and hers as well. You are like best of friends.
Yes,
a relationship that girls would wish to have with their dads. Most girls would wish to have with their dads, but again, they don't have that sort of relationship. And I'm just going to ask you the same question the guys were asked, and that is, what is it that you wish you were taught or you were told before becoming a dad and even taking that responsibility of raising your child, your girl, alone all this while? Very quickly before we go to Joe.
I wish I was told I'm not a super dad. Because when I took her in, I said, look, I am going to do everything I'm going to do everything possible to make sure that she doesn't miss anything in terms of motherhood or in terms of fatherhood. But I did realize that later on there were a few things that she missed in terms of fatherhood and in terms of motherhood as well. Because there's no way me as one person would be able to wear shoes for two people and push it to 100%. So yeah, someone would have told me, because I started terming myself a super dad long before I fathered. So just like he said, some of the things I learned on the go.
Learned on the go.
Yes.
Yeah. There's no manual really.
No.
It does well, be the best dad in all those things.
Exactly.
All right. And Joe, for you, I mean, experiencing what you experience, and I would say almost on a daily basis, in pain, in crisis, being in hospital for like 2 months, you know, spending a lot of time away from your children. What has this experience taught you, and you know, keep teaching you on a daily basis as far as fatherhood is concerned? I know you talked about earlier on the fact that sometimes you just have to hide your pain so that you do not, because you do not want to see your child see you in pain. Right? But what other things have you learned as a father who, again, is living with sickle cell disease
so
in constant pain?
The problem is the kids that I live with are very bright. They're able to detect when I'm okay and when I'm not okay. And most of the time, you have to realize that they're at school, and when they're at home, it's just for a period of time. But most of that time, I'm never with them because it's either I'm in hospital or somewhere else trying to get better. Because sometimes it gets intense to a place where I cannot shed tears before kids, so I have to go to a friend's place, and then I'll ask maybe a friend who is a lady come and take care of these kids while I'm away. But most of the time, all of them go to boarding schools, and they're really intelligent and talented. Good thing that is I've met him and you. In fact, one of my kids was doing one of your promos. I will show you. And then the others are actors. And then I've met this guy. I'm going to So all of them are talented and also they're good in class. But what you have to understand with kids is those are small kids who are now growing up. They are going into teenagehood. They are still trying to understand themselves, trying to
figure out all these changes and all those things.
So one thing you have to make sure is that to reassure them that they can talk to you and probably they are safe. But the good thing is that I have a mother who is still living. So sometimes when I need most of the advice, I get to a place in Manishinda, I call my mom. So my mom tells me, you do this and this. Because there's one of them I found out he had a girlfriend and he was afraid to tell me. So I found out on his Instagram and I was like, wow.
Okay.
So we had that conversation. And I told them it's really okay for them to come and talk to me. Because they're growing up and I'm still young, so I might be able to give you 1 or 2 tips. So, and also I still have to keep on getting into parenting classes so that I can go and learn.
I mean, you're pretty young, and I think it's the same case for you, Abel. You were pretty young when you got your child, so really, there's no, you're trying to figure yourself out. You also have to figure out how to raise this child, because every parent, I want to imagine, would want to raise their child, right? To be responsible people, to be disciplined, to be respectful, to be all those things, but at the same time, you can't do everything, like you're saying, on your own. But Joe, for you, what has been like the biggest challenge for you? You're you're in constant pain, you're in hospital almost all the time. Medication, again, for sickle cell, we all know how expensive that can be. You know,
really medication for sickle cell is actually expensive, especially when COVID came and then it went, and then the economy. So when you have little money, you find out that you have to to separate that money, weke kidogo kwa school fees, weke kidogo kwa dawa, and then you find out you have a lot of medical bills at hospital and all that. Recently, I had to put out a plea so that people can help me pay for medication because it was really getting a toll on me. And then you find that one of my kids actually nimetumiwa balance kutoka shuleni, ako na balance ya 70,000 Kenyan shillings that I need to pay. And that message is coming when I'm in hospital and I'm in pain, in actual pain. Sickle cell pain. It's really painful. I was feeling like, in fact, when that text message came through, I felt like kuna misumari imedungwa hapo chini na sasa ninakanyaga juu. And even the doctor couldn't do anything for me. So my challenge, my biggest challenge is how to make sure that these kids are okay. Because most of the times wanakuja nyumbani, anaweza fukuzwa shuleni yako nyumbani. Unajua hataenda nyumbani directly, will come directly to the hospital because he knows I am there. And when I'm in hospital, wakikuja pale, they never leave. And you know you can't stay there because hospitals have rules. So ndio tunakaa tu hapo like tumayatima and all that. And then there is nothing you can do. And then you have to understand that some of these kids that I took in are kids who have undergone maybe abuse from a place where they went. Like 2 of them have dads, but those dads are not there. They have denied them. Amesema hiki siki mtoto kyangu. You even call and he tells you really bad stuff about that child until mtoto and feel like they are not human. Now you have to go and get a counsel and talk to that kid before you take them in, because you know when you take a child in, you are taking all of their problems, including their trauma. Everything. So you have to start from zero to a place where utafika. And with me, with my condition, huwezi jua ni wapi nitafika na wapi sitafika.
And especially, like, I mean, with a crisis, you can't predict when a crisis is about to come. So it's it's a lot of things, but you're strong, really, to do all those things. It's like an embodiment of really what strength. I try.
Like today, I was in too much pain in the morning, but I called my sister and I told her I don't have anybody to take me for the show, and I can't walk. Can't really walk. You notice that I'm
using crutches.
I'm using crutches. I have to tell her, leo itabidi tu umewacha kazi umenipeleka. So right now she's supposed to be at work, but then she's here for me.
Bless you, sister, really. And support. And again, and speaking of support, I mean, you lost your dad about what, 3 years ago? 2 years ago, maybe. Yes. And he was like your strongest support system.
Yes,
and then, you know, he is gone. And you're left to, again, your mom is there, your sister you know, is there to also offer you that kind of support. I'll come back to you to understand how this impacted you. And now, looking back at how, you know, important support is and has been to you, what is it that you'd want to take forward as a dad to your children? But Abel, for you, I think we were talking about this like cultural stuff, you know. You're taking in your daughter, and of course, we all those sometimes we ask, Kwanini, you need to get someone to help you take care of your daughter, you know, and all those things. What was like the biggest challenge for you, you know, while you were raising your child alone, aside from, you know, all the things that we mentioned?
Yeah, I had all those calls from all corners, like including the very close relatives, including my mom and dad, the late, God rest their souls in eternal peace. And other relatives who kept, you know, instilling their wisdom into me, which I didn't want, and I felt like, just leave me alone. Where were you when my daughter was undergoing all this? All and everyone has just resurfaced, you know, being concerned about my daughter just because I have her. Like I'm a deadbeat, and if I was a deadbeat, I would not have had her in the first place. So why are you all over me telling me, oh, mtafutie mama, take her back to her grandma so her grandma can take care of her? Who told you I'm not able to take care of her? Or get a house help, or get an auntie, you take her to your cousin's place. of course, I had all these mother figures around me, and every once in a while I would make use of them by sending her to them. Like over the weekend, go to your Auntie Christine's place, go spend the weekend over there, go to Mama Koi's place, you know, just spend with your friends over there. They did a great job, you know, helping me to bring her back. But all these calls of mtaftie,
it gets into you, right?
It's a taboo for a father to stay with a girl, or no, you know, she's growing up, you know, things will start developing and stuff like that. I had all these things, and it was so disturbing.
And in as much as there's a lot of like negativity, there's also like positivity. Like for example, Ruth's teacher, the late Mrs. Webwe.
Wow,
right?
you remember that?
Yes.
Thank you.
Who helped, you know, a lot in terms of like shaping her, you know, coaching her, teaching her, and all those things, which is a good thing.
Yes.
So when it comes to then understanding how how important support is, and especially to you, you know, a single dad raising your child alone, and just making sure that you know, she is okay, and looking at what is happening now in our society as far as fatherhood is concerned, families breaking apart, deadbeats, right? And then we have single mothers and all. What would you say, like, in your opinion, is that one thing that is lacking when it comes to fatherhood?
Not that we do not have good fathers anymore.
Okay. We have good fathers.
So many of them around. But the same number of deadbeat fathers applies, because we, as time goes by, deadbeat fathers keep multiplying like plague. You know, like everywhere. Most of the ladies you meet are single mothers, and most of the fathers you meet. I have friends who I have talked to previously, who keep bragging of, we were in Miruka.
Man, and that's not right.
Like, really? A child? Yeah. What would give you the audacity? What would give you the courage to just say, and you know very well you fathered. It's even better for some of the parents who are not sure if they are if they fathered, but really it doesn't matter whether you fathered or not, as long as you had a relationship with the mother and the child came out, whether it was your seed or not. It's up to you to take the responsibility if the mother is saying it's you. But there are those who know they really fathered. The seed is theirs, but they just 10 feet high. Iliruka. So first, I think this generation, because long time ago, and I will give an example of my dad. My dad joined the army before he had a child with my mother. While he was away, my mother was coaxed by her sisters to remarry, because during that time they thought anyone who goes to the army doesn't come back. So they knew my dad was going to end up there, and my mom was just home waiting for a man who was going to be brought as a corpse. So my mom got married to another man while my dad was away. When my dad came back, my mom already had 2 kids with another man. But when my dad came back, his mother told him to get another woman, because his wife had already married. But my dad insisted. He said, no, I want my wife. My mom said, my grandmother said, no, but your wife has other kids with you. He said that it doesn't matter. So he went. There was a baraza, because he had already given some dowry. And he was given his wife. And when he was given his wife, he was given together with a package, the 2 kids. We grew together with our stepbrothers like our own. Oh, wow. Okay. That sense of responsibility is what is needed now. Okay, Joe, listen, we need to like end the show right now. Jack is going to like know us on the air, but very quickly, right? In terms of like understanding how important support is, and what is that one lesson that you'd want to carry forward, you know, being a dad. What is it? Very quickly, like literally 20 seconds. Like we are done. Yes, we're done. No. Being a dad and being there for your kids, it's really, really important. Because when you're present, there is that kind of courage you instill into them. Because you know, what you teach them or what you show them is what they carry into adulthood. And if you have a woman around and you're battering her, that is the kind of kids you're raising. And for me, I have boys. So I wouldn't want to, my kids to be beating women up. So I try and talk to them. I even take them for classes so that they can learn how to treat other people and all that. And then there are
there are media people. When I find opportunities, like we usually have those BBC programs, those ones, academies, those ones that there's another one that is usually at where DW and all that. I really want them to go and learn because they are really interested into media and acting.
All right, all these opportunities. And it's something I think, and something that most dads would say is, your kids would not remember everything that you bought for them, you know, all the toys and whatnot, but they'll remember the values that you instill in them. So for you too, it's the same thing, instill these important values to them. All right, listen, two different stories, but at the same time, embodiment of strength, provision, and just offering security and all those things that, you know, a father's role is. And we say thank you to both of you for coming by today. Happy Father's Day.
Thank you very much.
It
and
still
also,
continues,
I wish a happy Father's Day to all the fathers and father figures everywhere. Thank you so much. And, and I salute you.
Thank you so much.
And we salute you too for being there. But of course, we'll not just let you live like that without saying Happy Father's Day. So we have something special for you. And okay, this is Esther. Okay, Esther, I'm just going to ask you to give our fathers a small token from us, your entire, the entire Your World team.
Thank you.
To just say thank you for being amazing, amazing dads, and for all the sacrifices. Thank you so much, Esther, and all the sacrifices you know, that you have done to make sure that your kids are okay. So asanteni sana. Happy Father's Day. And of course, Happy Father's Day as well to all of you who are watching us, you know, who are dads, amazing dads, doing amazing, amazing things and just making sure that your children are okay. So continue feeling appreciated and feeling loved. And of course, the conversation continues online on our socials at NTV Kenya, both on Facebook and on Twitter. But for now, allow us to say goodbye. My name is Vini Lubembe. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you tomorrow. Goodbye for now. Thank you.